Welcome back to another EDH Deck Tech. My name is Scott and I have a very, very interesting one for you today. So I've been wanting to build Yawgmoth Thran position for some time. The only problem is I could never seem to make it work because it ended up just being another Aristocrats deck that I already had, right? I have a Yara and I have a Liliana Heretical Healer deck. So it just ended up being just a very similar build of each of those decks. But then I kind of thought about, okay, what about this second part, this discarding a card and proliferate? Very interesting. Now, I have this in my Liliana Heretical Healer deck because it has a lot of planeswalkers and the proliferate's really nice in there, but it's mainly for the first part. But what if I focus on the second part? Now, I had a Grixis Super Friends deck some time ago. I pulled that part for singles, so I thought, well, I'll just make Thran, Yawgmoth Thran position Super Friends. So we'll go through the deck. The Elder Spell, great. It's probably one of the main reasons to be in black for Super Friends. You're going to destroy Planeswalkers and then you're going to put those loyalties on your Planeswalkers. Very fantastic to try and push for those ultimates, right? Liliana of the Veil, you'll notice in mono black, you don't have that great selection of Super Friends. So a lot of them will be also Liliana decks, Liliana cards. So Liliana Veil, each player discards a card. So we will see a bit of that discard synergy again with Yawgmoth as well. Sacrificing creatures. Ultimate's quite nice, but it is only for one player. Liliana Heretical Healer. It's nice. It's a it creates a token for itself. It discards and it can recurring creatures. And the ultimate's pretty game winning as well. So quite nice to try to get that out as soon as possible, but it does create a token for itself. So really the themes of the Planeswalkers will be either it creates tokens to protect itself or it removes creatures. Liliana Last Hope. Oh man, Dark Ritual this. Love it. Trying to go for that ultimate. Other than that, the other two effects aren't particularly great. We aren't really milling to return creatures. It gets rid of some mana dogs, but it's really here to try and go for that ultimate. With the proliferates, Card Sign of Urza, it draws a card. It gets some of those cards that were not chosen. So presumably the two choices your opponents have chosen, you will get the worst of that, and then you can get the better of those two selections afterwards. But it does create a nice token, which, you know, I want those kind of token synergies. Liliana Dark Realm is probably one of the ones that doesn't create, has a bit of removal. We are playing a lot of swamps, so it's kind of okay, but it helps us to get swamps as well. Liliana Wake of the Dead discards. It has a bit of removal, and also, you know, gets creatures with that ultimate. So the ultimate's not necessarily game winning, but it's pretty good. So something that you could definitely go, but it's really just managing people's hand sizes. Sorrow and Mirthless, it draws cards. It creates a token, which is nice. The ultimate, not really something we want to kind of go for, but it draws and creates a token. It has a lifelink, which is nice too. The Chain Veil. So pretty much goes in a lot, pretty much every Super Friends deck. If you don't activate it, you're going to lose life. Activate loyalty ability, sorry, but it allows us to double up, right? We want to get to ultimates as fast as possible. With this and Yawgmoth trying to proliferate, we're trying to get there. So quite nice, bit of a late game play. Liliana Death Matry makes a zombie token. It reanimates, which is also quite nice, and also has a board wipe as well. So we're not really playing zombies too much, so it's pretty much going to hit everything, but really, really nice just to start protecting ourselves. Lolth Spider Queen, 5 mana, draws a card, and it creates 2 blockers essentially with reach as well. So great for, you know, your opponent's a dragon deck or something. It's great for that. The ultimate, not really necessarily game winning. You know, the spiders are going to kind of get in and do 8 damage. So is those zombies. But really interesting card. Great for just tokens. Obnixilis destroys a creature, draws a card. You can Shieldred somebody with that ultimate, but it's just one person. So it's really just to help manage the board and also card draw. Terazat makes 2 tokens, so great when they make 2. It also draws cards, which is great. We're not really going to sacrifice our commander, so it's not going to be something that we're looking for, but the ultimate is not necessarily game winning, but it is so much value that your opponents just concede. Liliana Dreadhorde General, probably the best one So when creatures die, so we have a lot of tokens. So those tokens are great to sacrifice to Yawgmoth, because Yawgmoth, you don't need to have any resources other than the creature to sacrifice. So it's great that this creates tokens and we can draw a card, then it also draws cards when that token dies. Has a bit of removal, and that ultimate can be game winning. So really, really nice. Professor Onyx, Magecraft, we've got a bit of mage instant sorcery, so it's not necessarily going to not be relevant, but it draws a cards, it removes creatures, and Tormented Hellfires people, so another ultimate that we kind of strive for. Sora Markov, it really only matters the -3, put someone down to 10, make it kind of get close to somebody being removed from the game. Someone's gained a little life, you're not really going to hit them hard enough. You can just change their life total. So really nice for that. It also has 3 black pips, which is relevant. Ugin the Ineffable. We have a few artifacts, so the static is decent, but here it creates a token and draws that card when it dies. So we can sacrifice that token. So really, really good. So create a token for the blocking for that turn, then we sacrifice it to draw a card, then draw that card, and also it has removal. So quite nice. And then Ugin, the big Ugin, lightning bolts people, board wipes, gets close to our ultimates. We have a lot of permanents. We're planeswalker based, so it's a lot of permanents. So that putting 7 permanents can be kind of so much value. Your opponents will drown in value. Okay, so just a little bit of recursion. So we're discarding cards, so sometimes we have to discard those planeswalkers, as well as our planeswalkers will just be attacked, so they'll go to the graveyard. So just a bit of recursion. The second part of this, destroying someone else's planeswalker, sure, whatever. But it really is just to help get our planeswalker back onto the battlefield. Command the Dreadhorde. So choose any number of target creatures and/or planeswalkers in any graveyard. You'll lose life equal to that that mana value, and then you put them on the battlefield, right? So it gets our planeswalkers out. So sometimes just 10 life, you're going to get your 2 planeswalkers, or maybe 20 life, you're going to get 3 planeswalkers and your opponent's best creature. So it's quite nice. You have to manage your life total, but it's a fun card to play, that's for sure. Okay, so we do have a bit of an aristocrat combo, right? So with Yawgmoth, I wanted a different win condition that wasn't just Super Friends trying to go for ultimates. I needed something else to win the game, because it can just get quite grindy, right? So Nest of Scarabs, Zulaport Cutthroat. So when you put a -1/-1 counter, you create an insect token. So Yawgmoth, sacrifice a creature, you gain a you put a counter on something, you get a token. Then you sacrifice that token, repeat, right? So you want to keep having something that you need to put your token on. So it's on a creature, so you can put it on your opponent's creatures, but with Zulaport Cutthroat, you're kind of going through. Now, you can add in Undying and things like that to make sure that you have something infinitely going. So I haven't really done that, but I do still want to kind of have this to help A, start ending the game, and B, just, a bit of life gain as well. Just to kind of present a win, but you can go further down and kind of make it more infinite with Undying things and things that kind of keep coming back. So you've got that in place. But really, with enough tokens, I've been kind of having enough to start hitting people for quite a lot, because I say I have 5 tokens, then I'll also get insect tokens, so I can sacrifice them, right? So you get the drill. Then the Great Merchant of Asphodel help with Devotion. Again, I mentioned the 3 pips on Sorin. Devotion is very important in this deck because we do have a lot of permanents, a lot of black permanents. So Devotion is something that we can hit. So it's another alternative win where our planeswalkers aren't really doing much. Okay, so a bit of discard synergy. So we aren't really utilizing our graveyard a lot, but I wanted a bit of discard synergy because I'm just putting those cards into the graveyard. So we've got a lot of these bag of holding effects where we discard them, they go into exile, and then we can pay 4 to get it back, or it has a rummage effect, draw a card and then discard a card, right? So we can get those cards back that we discarded, both to Yawgmoth and to our Lilianas. Then you have Currency Converter, very similar, although we can put that card back into our graveyard, and then we get some kind of effect, right? Token or treasure. So just nice bit of value just to do something with those cards that we're discarding. And then Containment Construct, same with you discard a card and then you can play that card that turn. So really try to have something where you pay your 2, you discard, you proliferate, then you play that same card that you just discarded to get that value, right? Really, really nice. So Protection, Maze of Ith, great. It's a land, but do not count this as your land in your land slot. It's more of a spell. Just to stop someone's Voltron, someone's big creature, someone's Trampler is coming out as a Planeswalker, just to stop them from doing our damage. Darkness, great. No one expects a fog in mono black. Just to prevent, again, somebody swinging out. Okay, I've got 3 Planeswalkers. I'm going to swing out with all my creatures just to kind of get them off the board. Darkness. All right, stop that. Nice. Malachite Rebirth. We're not playing a lot of creatures, but just to keep Yawgmoth around, and it's also a land on the other side, so really, really valuable there. Sudden Spoiling, again, kind of like Darkness, where it's just going to kind of nullify somebody's attack. That's what we want to do, so that we can say board wipe the next turn. Silent Arbiter. I really like this in my Grixis Super Friends. Just, really makes combat simple. They have to kind of remove this first, and then they can kind of think about, okay, now I need to swing out at these Planeswalkers. Death Evolved Walker, just a bit of hate, graveyard hate, a bit of value. Really, really great in a lot of decks. Has 2 black pips for Devotion. So just all round great card. And kind of turns the ire away from your Planeswalkers and onto Doughty Voidwalker, right? People want to remove this as opposed to your Planeswalkers first. So really, really nice graveyard hate, and you can get somebody's spell. Okay, ramp. So we're playing a lot of, 5 mana CMC Planeswalkers. So we need a lot of ramp. So Astral Cornucopia, XXX. So essentially a 3 mana rock if you want to pay 1. And you're going to tap for 1. But the benefit of this is trying to get it down early as possible, and then we can proliferate it, right? So now we're starting to proliferate, and it's starting to tap for 2 and 3, right? We want to be proliferating with our Planeswalkers anyway, so this is just something that's just going to get caught up in that proliferate. Very, very nice. Everflowing Chalice. So multi-kicker, same thing, charge tokens, but it's colorless. Now we're mono black, we don't really care about colorless. So it can come down and be, a Mind Stone equivalent, or it can be a Hedron Archive equivalent, right? So it's tapping for 2, it's having for 1, whatever, but the proliferate makes it, nice. Dark Ritual, great. We want to get some of those, maybe those Liliana Last Hope on turn 1. Bit of legacy play. Very nice. Wayfarer's Bubble, get that land out. Great ramp. Arcane Signet, nice 2 mana rock. Belvoir Stone, again, black is a popular color. Jet Medallion, we're playing a lot of black permanents, so it's quite nice to reduce. Mind Stone can also draw, which is nice. Thought Vessel, hand size not too relevant, but it is a 2 mana rock. We don't really care about the colorless. Crypt Gas, playing a lot of swamps. Extort's nice to kind of help buffer our life total. As well, but it's here really just to double those swamps. Solemn Simulacrum to get that swamp out and hopefully draw a card, be a blocker, something that we can sacrifice to Yawgmoth. Very, very nice, kind of hits a lot of avenues. Crick, Son of Yawgmoth, you love him, you hate him, you have to put Yawgmoth's Son in this deck, of course, for theme reasons purely, not because this is a really, really great card, obviously. A lot of black pips in this. We're going to be playing a lot of life, and that lifelink encounters can be quite nice, but it's really just to help with the ramp. Okay, card draw. So Skull Clamp. We're playing Planeswalkers, not that many creatures, but a lot of our creatures have tokens. A lot of our Planeswalkers make tokens, sorry. And we are sacrificing those tokens. So Skull Clamp, still absolutely great. Night's Whisper, nice, simple, 2 mana, draw 2, lose 2. Sign and Blood, same thing, but it can target another player if that's relevant. Black Market Connections, I've been loving this card. Really, really great. Pre-combat main phase, you'll get a treasure and draw a card. Those are usually the 2 that I go for, and I can create a blocker if I want. But really I try to do the first 2 just for A, ramp, and B, card draw. Ophiomancer. Now, Ophiomancer in the draw section, that's strange, right? Yes, essentially it makes a snake, but with Yawgmoth, it's a snake every turn. Then you don't have a snake, so you get a new snake, so you're drawing a card, so every turn cycle with Ophiomancer is draw 4, lose 4. Create a death touch snake that no one attacks you with, and then sacrifice it and draw a card. It's great. So it's not necessarily something that goes with like Innis and Scarabs or whatever, but it will help with that Zulaport Cutthroat as well as your card draw. Phyrex Arena, simple. Get a card every turn. Read the Bones, nice, simple. Lose 2, draw 2, scry 2. Right. Okay, removal. So removal, very simple. So Defile, where got a lot of swamps, obviously. So that -1 for each swamp. That's gonna be great against Indestructible and things like that. Feed the Swarm for those pesky enchantments that we can't really deal with. Oath of Liliana. So Oath of Liliana, we're playing a Planeswalker deck. We have a lot of Lilianas. We can get a blocker, which is nice, and opponent sacrifice a creature, whatever. But every time we play a Planeswalker, we get a token. Great for protecting. Deadly Rollick, we do want to play our commander. It will usually be free. Exiling is great. Aggro Mauling, it's a bad murder, but it's a land on the other side, so really, really nice. Snuff Out, we will have a swamp, so that's great. It does hit non-black, but that's okay. There's still plenty of targets out there. The Eldest Reborn. So it is a saga, so it's a bit slow. You'll get a creature initially, and then each opponent's going to discard a card, sure. But you're going to get a Planeswalker back from your graveyard. So it's nice. So it kind of fits that recursion theme as well as a bit of removal. Yawgmoth's Vile Offering, 5 mana sorcery. So you're going to destroy a creature and then going to return one of your Planeswalkers back, which is really, really nice, right? And exile it. So you do have to have a legendary permanent. So Yawgmoth or one of your Planeswalkers, right? We have lots of legendary permanents, so it's going to be okay. Bit slow. So but you need something to reanimate. Toxic Deluge, so board wipes, very important in a Planeswalker deck. -X gets around Indestructible. Damnation, nice and simple. They can't be regenerated. Nice 4 mana. Mutilate, again, playing lots of swamps. So it's a Defile for all creatures. Then Blood on the Snow. I love this card. So it's destroy creatures or destroy Planeswalkers. Probably not going to do the second one because you want to keep your Planeswalkers around, FYI. But you can return a creature or Planeswalker equal to the amount of snow mana you built. Yes. Snow lands are coming. The North remembers. So, yeah. Really, really great. 6 mana. It's going to destroy everything and then get our Planeswalker back, right? So we get our 5 mana value Planeswalker. We've destroyed all creatures for 1 mana. That's pretty nice. It's pretty good value. Lands. Okay. So Bojuka Bog, exile people's graveyards. Very simple. Cabal Coffers, playing a lot of swamps. We want to be trying to ramp as much as possible. Cabal Stronghold, again, we're playing a lot of basic swamps. So, in the late game, this can be quite a lot. Castle Lochthwain, we will have a swamp, so it's generated, comes in untapped. Sometimes our hand can get a bit low, depends if we're not able to get something that your moths can start to sacrifice. So having that card draw is quite nice, but usually it's there for the land. Khan's Bastion, Proliferate, so just an additional Proliferate engine if we really need. It is, I have found this to be a bit expensive to do, you're not really holding up 5 mana. But it can be nice if you don't really have something else to do, right? You have a lot of Planeswalkers and nothing else. It might be nice. Mirrored Landscape, just for a bit of ramp. Nykthos trying to Nyx. Devotion's really, really powerful. And then lots and lots of snow. Swamps. All right, so 22, 25, I can't remember. So all the snow, right, for Blood and Snow. Blood and Snow is the only snow payoff, but you could put Dead in the Water as well. Strip Mind, I do play land destruction lands in your deck. Should at least have one. This could be a Ghost Quarter, Wasteland, whatever, but very, very powerful. Someone else has a Cabal Coffers, someone else has a Guy's Cradle. Really rare, great. Takenuma, Abandoned Mire, get some of those Planeswalkers back, right? So we're going to mill, get one of those Planeswalkers, is going to be raised dead, but it's on a land, so that's really nice. Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, make everything a swamp. Great for Cabal Coffers, great for Defile, Mutilate, things like that. And also to fix for our Yawgmoth. And then War Room, just simple, can draw if we need to. Yeah, so it's a deck. Pretty simple Planeswalker Super Friends deck. Has been a lot of fun in comparison to say my Grixis one, where Grixis had more, it was much more reactionary. I had a lot of removal, a lot of counter spells, things like that, right? So it got very, very slow, very hard to kind of deploy my Planeswalkers. This one, nah. All in, let's just put Planeswalkers down, see how it goes. Let's stop some combats, let's discard, manage people's hands, let's destroy creatures. Much more fun, much more fun. So I have enjoyed it. I think the proliferate is very powerful. It can be done at instant speed. We just need that mana, so that's important. Overall, being super fun to play, yeah. And a bit different. People look at Yawgmoth and they look at it like, you know, another Yawgmoth deck, but it's a bit different, and I've liked that that aspect about it. You know, it's not something that people see straight away, as I'm not really deploying a lot of creatures. Yeah, so lots of fun. All right, well, thank you for watching the video, and I hope you enjoy.